And just like that, I have a camera sticking in my face, and now I've got to talk to you and think of things to say. And it's amazing how every time I start a live stream, I have no idea how I'm going to start it or what I'm going to do. I have a plan. I have a vague plan. But it's mostly just press the button, the counter hits 0, and then I figure it out. So, the important thing, the thing I can't miss, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar peoples. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. So, hello to all of my beautiful friends. Hang on, I've got to just find cast note. Cast note, I have it open. It still says upcoming for the stream. Hopefully it will catch up in just a moment and it will realize that the stream really is streamifying. I'm going to try reloading the page and see if that makes any difference. Nope, it still says upcoming. Okay, so doing this the old-fashioned way. Good morning to Crispian and I assume Imi. Currently in a car, travelling, heading towards Melbourne, coming for the barbecue. So many of you will get to see them today. Also, good morning to Sharky, David C, Stephen George, Russell Rennie, Annie Mills, Chris Davis. Hello from St. Louis, Mo. I know that's a that's a US state. What is an abbreviation for? Someone will give me the answer before I even before I could even Google it. Yes, Missouri. Okay, why? I guess that it couldn't be MI because that's Mississippi. Yeah. Simon also said Missouri. Good morning to Amanda. Imi says, good morning from Crispian and Imi. We're heading your way at 1/10 the speed of sound. That is a good speed to be traveling at. At Mach 0.1. Okay. Mach 0.1. Which reminds me, I saw a okay, just bear with me for a second because I've just got to search for something. Yes, I know it's a long search. It's a long search. Okay. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so here we go. This was something that I saw on Facebook just recently. It's an urgent clarification. Imi's comment about traveling at 10% of the speed of sound reminded me of this. So, for those of you who can't tell the difference, one of these is a Dassault, I think it's pronounced Dassault Mirage, and the other one is a Mitsubishi Mirage. So it's very easy to get your Mirages confused. If you can't spot the subtle differences between them, they can be very tricky to tell apart. And so the Air Force Museum of New Zealand posted, a couple of days ago with this urgent clarification for people who are having trouble. Now, who was it in the chat that's, there it was. David said, now everyone, we have to be good today and find a squirrel that we can throw at John to completely derail him and bounce us into a completely unexpected topic for the next 2 hours. And I said it wouldn't take much, and here it is. It was Imi saying that she's traveling at 1/10 the speed of sound. So, yeah, so they put out this urgent clarification for people who are having trouble with this, and the difference between the Dassault Mirage and the Mitsubishi Mirage. So yeah, this is the bit that reminded me. So the Mitsubishi Mirage had a conventional inline 4-cylinder engine with a choice of 1.2, 1.4 or 1.6 litre variants and a top speed, depending on the model, of 145 kilometers an hour or Mach 0.12. Disappointingly, none came with an afterburner option. Yeah. Oh yeah, so the the really definitive way to tell these two Mirages apart is to look for the ejection seat sign. So there is the triangular ejection seat warning label on the side here. And yeah, it says Mirage 3s were fitted with Martin Baker Mark IV ejector seats, but Mitsubishi decided against fitting this all-important safety option. So if you are driving down the road in a Mirage, you probably do not have an ejector seat. If you are flying through the air in a Mirage, you either have an ejector seat or you are recreating the scene from Blues Brothers, falling off the incomplete freeway. Chris said, I fly that plane in my game Metal Storm all the time. Yeah, they are such a pretty looking plane. Very pretty looking. Okay, so Castnote still hasn't figured out that the stream is live. Still says upcoming. I'm just going to go back to streams. What does it say there? No, it still says upcoming there as well. Okay, so I think this may have been an issue that I had last week as well. And Mitchell did something that made the stream come to life. So, Chris, which Mirage do you fly? Do you fly this fancy gold one down the bottom with the front mounted rear view mirrors? These rear view mirrors just baffle me because they are so far away from you that the reflected image, if you think about like the size of a rear view mirror, you know, average rear view mirror, if the rear view mirror is mounted on the door, it is maybe 40 centimeters away from you. If it's mounted down near the front of the bonnet, it's more like 1.5 meters away from you. And so the little reflection that you're looking at is way down there, so you could barely make out any detail. You'd see if there's a car beside you, and it would help a bit with removing the blind spot that you have with oh, Stephen says that Dassault doesn't even have rear view mirrors. I thought it did. I thought it had like a little mirror high up, but yeah, you can't really see behind you very well. And Chris says the front mounted mirrors only cause sunspots on your eyes. Like, they would have to be huge so you could see anything. Yes, they would. Grant, good morning. Good morning and welcome to the stream of chaos and randomness. And we are currently... Oh, Simon said, aren't they called wing mirrors? Yeah, probably. Out on the... These are called wing mirrors. And they're not on the plane. They're on the... they're on the earthbound version of the Mirage. Okay. Where are we? Just got to switch to live chat. Now, my plan, such as it is, as little as there is of it. Stephen says the Mirage also has an extra wheel. It's not looking good for sales at the Dassault. Yeah, I know. And for the price, if you took the price of the Dassault Mirage and divided it by 3, and you took the price of the Mitsubishi Mirage and divided it by 4, the price that you're paying per wheel on the Dassault version is crazy. Also, I have to check how to pronounce Dassault. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is. Do I have audio? How do I make it play? Dessous. Okay. I wasn't too far off. At least I wasn't saying Dassault. Yes. Paul, good morning. So one of the other things that could throw me off today is right here. I have a thing that Paul sent me, and I got it on my bench in case it ends up being something to experiment with today. And I wanted to do it at a time when Paul was in the chat, since it was Paul who sent it to me, and it would be kind of disrespectful to play around with it when he's not even here. Now, so is everybody clear now? You can pick up the subtle telltale signs, the differences between the Dassault Mirage and the Mitsubishi Mirage? Good. I'm glad we got that sorted, and we will no longer be confused by those two things. Okay, now, as I said, my plan, such as it is to play around with putting together the SO-101 robot arms. Oh, they got little assembly videos. That's cool. What have we got? Example output, finding all the robot find port, find the USB ports associated with each arm. Okay, that's after doing some other stuff. So my goal for today is just to do a bit of mechanical assembly and have a chat while doing it. So, whoops, I just locked my computer. I moved the mouse down towards the bottom left corner. So so you're getting the Apple desktop screensaver thingy. Luckily it didn't stop the stream. At least I don't think it did. Oh, Paul. Okay, so Paul just said that the package that he sent is the subject of his Everything Open presentation. Okay then, I do not want to reveal anything that you don't want to reveal. I don't want to, if you're wanting to reveal things, why is John hugging people's faces? Because I like hugging. So, Paul, this is another reason that I only wanted to do this when you were around, because I wanted to check with you about what your intention was for sending it to me. Is your intention for me to play around with it on a stream, or to have it and keep it secret until you're everything open? Okay, all feedback is useful, reveal away. Okay, cool. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to publicity, yes. So everybody, come to Canberra in January. At least I hope it's Canberra. I might go to the wrong city. Everything open. Yes, 2026 is in Canberra in January. And is the program up yet? I don't think it is. No. So the schedule is not yet up, but Paul's talk has been accepted. Congratulations, Paul. Anyway, if anybody is able to make it to the Canberra region in January 2026, let's see specifically when, 21st to 23rd of January 2026, come along to Everything Open and see Paul talk about the little pulse, sorry, I nearly dropped it. Pulse for ESP Home is what the thing says on it. Pulse for ESP Home, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Pulse LED, configure with Impro. So I have deliberately not actually really looked at this because I didn't want to preempt, and so I've seen that it's in the bag. My guess, what it looks like to me, is that it is, okay, there are two things it could be. Two things. When I see Pulse for ESP Home, it could either be an energy monitoring system which reads the pulses coming off a smart meter and measures the power consumption of your house and then reports it back. Or it's a physical pulse, as in you stick it on your finger and it reads the pulse. It could be either of those things, and I actually don't even know. It just says that it's Pulse for ESP Home. So, yeah. Oh, and also, Paul, as Paul said, I would also love to catch up with anyone who's here. So so anyone who can make it to Everything Open 2026, please do so. You will be able to catch up with Paul, with me, with Andy. That's 3 people who you as a viewer of this live stream are likely to know, or know of at least. So come along. Someone else, does it have lasers? Lasers can be arranged. So what am I doing? That's right. I am hugging faces. Hugging face. SO-101 robot. So this is just to do a very quick reminder of what it is that I'm talking about. Oh, here's someone who's done it in orange. I have part of this that is printed in orange. What I do not have is that camera, I think. Anyway, these robot arms come in pairs. This one is the leader arm, and you can see that it's got a pistol grip and then a little thing that you open and close. The idea is that you hold that pistol grip and you use your thumb to open and close it, and you can move it around. And that is the input side of the input half of the equation. And someone there has printed them in white. These ones are printed in orange. This is printed in black, in blue, all sorts of colors. And you can see that one of them has a pistol grip and the other one has a clacky claw gripper. So what you can do is set them up where you grab one of them and you move it. The position of the arm is detected, and then that feedback is sent to the follower arm, which then mimics the movements. And here you can see the grippy arm, the follower, mounted on a Lakiwi 3-wheel base. And here's there you can see someone holding the leader arm and moving the follower arm. And so, here is, oh look at that, this little animation. Someone who is using one, what is this, post-training. Okay, so this is one that has been trained to pick up objects, pick up pens and put them into a little pen holder in this case. And drop, yeah. It's just a little looping animated Giphy thing. This says post-training, so this must be after the training has been done. Step-by-step tutorial, installation, Groot. Anyway, many fun things that can be done once these robots have been assembled. So, I believe I have the parts here required to make one of these robots. I have the parts for 1.5. For 1.5 pairs of robots. What do I have? I should probably, what should I do? I should switch to this view, the top-down view. I'm just off camera at the moment, grabbing some bits and pieces of hardware. This is the thing that Paul sent. So you can see there's a little sensory device there on a cable connected to another Duvalaki device. Looks like an M5 stack style device. So that'll have an ESP in it, and that would connect to Wi-Fi or whatever. My guess is using MQTT or similar, can send energy data, which is pretty cool. So I will put that aside for future playing around. What I have here is a big bag of stuff with some partly assembled stuff. Which are these? Oh, there's a base, and I need to swap this motor. These are these are leader motors. Okay, a lot of this is going to be me thinking out loud as I go through this process. And here I have a big plastic tub full of 3D printed parts. You can see there are orange parts, there are black parts, and there are these boxes that have got servo motors in them, and USB cables, power supplies. There's an interface board in here somewhere. There's the interface board connected to one of the power supplies. So, okay, here's the deal. The way these are typically set up, the way they are printed, is you print all of the parts for a leader arm and you print all of the parts for a follower arm, and you can just barely fit the parts for one of those on the bed of a typical 3D printer, you know, like a 250 by 250 millimeter-ish 3D printer, which is the common sort of size if you've got a Prusa or like a bamboo printer or a Creality printer or whatever. They're around that size. So what I've done is I printed all of the parts for a follower arm in orange. You can see that this is part of a gripper. Oh, the camera is a bit out of focus because it's focused closer to the bench. Things will be more in focus when I put them on the bench. So you can see that this is part of a gripper. And all of these parts, where's the other part? Needs a bit of cleaning up because it's got support material still stuck on it. But there is another part, the other part of the gripper. And there will be a servo motor mounted in here, and this will be attached to the servo so that it can open and close. And the black parts, in fact, what I'm going to do is get all of the orange parts out because I know that is one complete set. Now what's left in here is all of the parts in black to make both a leader and a follower. So this is what I meant by I've printed 1.5 sets worth. I've printed a leader and a follower in black and only a follower in orange. So what I'm going to do, these are the follower servos. Oh, there's another orange part down there. Random servo cable. And okay, I'm going to put that aside and then clarify what it is that I'm going to do. Did I just mute myself? No. Good. Now, these motors, whoop, it's like a shell game. All right, there are 6 motors in each arm. These motors in the follower arm are all identical. They all, if I stuck them like this, we should see, oops, like that. So they are all 12 volt nominally, so like a 3S type motor. They all have the same speed, 0.222 seconds per degree, and they all have, like you can see, they have the same part number. The torque is all the same, 30 kilogram centimeters on all of these. So all of the follower arms are identical. However, the leader arms are all 6 or 7 volt-ish nominal, so like a 2S battery arrangement, and they have 3 different gear ratios. So you need to be careful about which position you put each one in to make sure that the motor with the right ratio is in the right location on the arm. So what I started to do, this was just because I was having fun and I wanted to see how it all fitted together. I started assembling the base. This is the base that I printed for the follower in orange, but I put the motor in that is for the leader. And that's because what I was planning to do was then also print the leader in orange, and I was just going to swap the parts around and everything would be fine because the base part of it is actually identical. However, I have not done that. So I now have, what I'm going to do is use this orange one and build it up as a follower, because that's what the parts are printed for. That means I've got to swap the motor. And one of the things that I did during the week was I've got a Linux box sitting here on my desk, and I installed the, gotta get that off. I installed the, did I put screws in there? Oh, I did, I put screws in there. Need a smaller screwdriver. And what was I saying? I have no idea what I was just saying. What was it? Someone remind me. Come on. It's a very tight fit. There we go. So this is leader motor 1. That's the one with the ratio for 1. So I'm going to put that aside. Grab one of these. That's F2. Oh yeah, so I've already, that's right. That's what I was saying. I've got a Linux box sitting on my desk. I normally use a Mac desktop, but I also have a Linux desktop. And I can switch one of the monitors between the two of them. So what I did was I set up the utility F5. Oh, they're numbered on the boxes. So I should just look for F1. Here we go. What I did was the utility software which manages these motors, I installed it on the Linux desktop, and I then assigned IDs to these motors. So the way these work is that these connect on a daisy chain bus. So one cable goes to the controller, which goes to the computer or microcontroller or whatever it is that you're using to drive all of these things. And the other cable goes to the next motor in the chain. When you get these motors out of the box, they all have an ID of 1. And the idea is that it's a little bit like talking to, well, not quite the same, but conceptually, imagine you've got a string of neopixels, like RGB LEDs, and which side should that go on? Sorry, I'm just thinking through. Okay, that one needs to go under. Not that it can't be changed later. But anyway, yeah, so the same way that you would have, for example, a string of neopixels, and then you say, I want LED 3 in the string to be red. And you set that in the data structure inside the microcontroller that you're using to drive them. And then the microcontroller sends the data to the string of LEDs and sets LED 3 to be red. Same sort of thing. What happens is that all of these motors end up on a bus, and you give them an ID and you address the motor. The actual conceptual, the way that it works is very different to what I was just describing. So I'm just going to chuck this cover over the top. Is very different to the way neopixels work, because the way neopixels work, which is interesting, is that you have to maintain in memory the state of all of the LEDs in the string. So say you've got 10 LEDs in a string and you set them all to green. What happens is that the driver software creates a chunk of data which contains 10 values in it, and all of the values say green. And it then sends that string down the line. It basically just starts pumping it along and says, here are 10 values. And then the first LED takes the first value. I mean, I might be slightly messing up the details of this, but this is the concept. The first LED takes the first value and it applies it to itself, and it takes it off the message, and then the rest of the message gets passed on. And then the next LED takes the leading value, takes it for itself, cuts it off the message, and then passes the rest of the message on. So the message gets shorter and shorter as it travels down the bus. Now, if I am totally lying about that, someone please correct me in the chat. Oh, Paul says, what filament? Oh, this was just done with PLA, cheap bamboo PLA. So the LEDs when we say addressable RGB LEDs, that's actually a lie. RGB LEDs are not addressable technically. The only reason that we consider them to be addressable, so you cannot send a message down the wire that only goes to the 17th LED in the string. What you have to do is send a message with the values for all of the previous LEDs as well, because you can't just send a message and say, this message is for LED number 17, because the LEDs have no idea what number they are. They don't know where they are in the chain. They don't have a number assigned. All they know is the data that they've received in isolation. They don't know what's upstream of them. They don't know what's downstream of them. So the addressing, when we talk about addressing and saying, I'm going to change the color of LED number 17, what that is doing is, in the memory structure in the microcontroller, it is changing the value of the 17th position in the message, and then you send the entire message again. So to change the value of one LED, you are sending a data packet or a stream of data that has all of that information in it. So has nobody's contradicted me on that. Chat is very quiet today. I just looked across and it's still just Paul's message about what filament. Am I even streaming? Yes. Okay, I am. It's just quiet. So, what am I doing? Okay, I need to actually look at the instructions and figure out what I'm doing, because I've got all of these. Maybe before I get to that, I will do just a little bit of cleanup, and if we're really lucky, I'll injure myself live on stream, and then you can all laugh at me. Yeah, that wasn't the cleanest bit of a print there, but it's okay. It's acceptable. Yeah. It wasn't perfect detachment of the support material just on the edge right there. Where is the focus point on this? It's about there somewhere. Yeah, that's okay. As long as things are flat on the bench, it's okay. Stephen says, the stream is on topic. We're all dazzled at the moment. Yeah, telling a good story. Yeah, I'm just making stuff up and lying to you, most likely, because I expect that everything I know is wrong. It's all lies. I've been told lies my whole life, and I've believed them, and now I'm telling lies as well. Okay, those bits seem okay. These parts, on the whole, came out really nice and clean. This was one of the preset. Yeah, it's a little bit of bleh on the surface there. This was, which way was this printed? That was down, I think. Oh, there's a little thing in here that needs to be popped out. Yes, so anyway, addressable LEDs are a lie, is the the moral of the story. They don't actually have addresses. They fake it. And they fake it so effectively that it doesn't matter. It's not necessarily the most efficient thing, because it means that if you've got a very long string, then the amount of data that you've got to send just keeps growing. So if you've got 1,000 LEDs, you have to send a message with 1,000 values. Yeah, so yeah, you can't do things like compress. It would be interesting actually to apply some kind of a compression algorithm to the message. If you were doing something like a rainbow where all the colors are different, then you wouldn't get any benefit from it. But if you had a message where primarily LEDs were the same color, or ideally all LEDs were the same color, then compression would work incredibly effectively, because the naive compression algorithm, probably the first thing that I would try, which is I think this is kind of the way zip works, among other things, is that you just look for strings of consecutive values. Say you had 7, and then you just have a multiplier, so, or a count rather. So what you do is, say you want to send 10 red, then 10 green, then 10 blue, you send a message which is, say, whichever order. Say the multiplier, like 10, and then the value of red, and then the multiplier of 10, then the value of green, then the multiplier of 10, then the value of blue. And the first LED that gets it would see 10 red, and it takes the first one and it changes the counter, and it says 9 red and 10 green and 10 blue, because it's claimed the first red for itself, and then passes it on to the next one, and then the next one decrements the counter. So the message would stay effectively the same size as it travels down the string, but in that example you would have 3 multipliers and 3 colors, so a total of 6 variables that you are sending, and you would be sending them to 30 LEDs, so 10 of one color, 10 of another color, and 10 of the third color. So you would end up with effectively cutting your message size to 1/5, if my primary school maths did not let me down just then. So yeah, you could make the messages much smaller and potentially much faster on the wire, but that would only work if, I wonder what that's for. Oh, maybe this slides into that. Does it? It looks like it does fit. That looks like it fits into that. It's a tight fit, and I don't want to be doing the wrong thing, so I'm going to take it back out again, just in case. But it really looks like that goes onto there. Maybe. Maybe? We shall see. At some point, I will start reading the instructions. Yeah, so the downside of that, of course, is that having a protocol where you would have a count and a value would actually double your message size if every LED has a different color to the one before it. And the point where you get break even is where you have an average of 2 colors per, like an average run of 2 colors, 2 LEDs per color. And anytime you get an average of more than 2 LEDs, then you would have a win. Although I suppose what you would do is, if the multiplier is 1, then you just don't have a multiplier. So you would send a color value, but then you would need a way of telling the difference between it. Yeah, anyway. Also, the multiplier would be a smaller variable than the color value, because the color value is actually red, green, blue. It's 3 bytes. So it'll be adding a 4th byte, which is adding 33% to the size of the message. So yeah, thinking it through, it wouldn't be as bad as my first assessment. Now, let's see. What do we need to do? Follow the README. Instructions to 3D print the parts. Yep, step by step. Follow arms, lead. Okay, so follow arm uses 6 motors the same. So this is the explanation of the different motors that are used in the leader arm. Clean parts, please. Okay, instructions are here. Adafruits say their NeoPixels have a max length of 512. May also have current limits depending on how you configure them, says Grant. Current doesn't matter as you can inject more power along the string. And Paul asked, is there a limit to the length of the string in neopixels? Oh, Grant, yeah. My incredibly naive first pass at a compression algorithm. Grant says it's called run length encoding. Yes. Ooh, Mitchell says TTS is fixed. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, it is too. It's up. It is there. So, well, hello everybody. Now, hopefully, I'm just going to make sure the volume is up on my computer. Where's the... Oh, there it is. I just did the Mac OS update and it's changed. The UI has changed quite dramatically in many ways, and one of them is the volume indication. Previously, when I twiddled the volume knob, the volume slider would appear in the middle of the monitor, but now it appears up in the top right corner. So I was just turning the volume control and going, where's the feedback? Okay, cool. Thanks, Mitchell. Mitchell said it shouldn't be an issue in the future. If you do just start the stream, it might just take a minute or two before it shows the messages, but it should be dandy now. Nice. Yes, it is definitely showing the messages now. It is up and live. And here comes the test. Let's see. Come on. It is. Is it going to do it? You can see in the user interface that it is there, but it hasn't auto-played. I'm just going to click the play button and see if that makes it do it.
This is a test.
Yeah, okay. I clicked the play button and it worked, but it didn't auto-play. Don't know why. Okay. Here comes the next test. Let's see if this one auto-plays. I wonder if that's a browser issue. Anyway. Why?
Test again.
Yeah, that one worked. I didn't... Start a poll, so I don't remember... No. Okay. Sorry. I'm just messing around in the chat. Now, what are the instructions? Install both place the first motor into the base. Screw 2 from the top and 2 from the bottom. I only put 2 in from the top. I didn't put in the 2 bottom ones. I wonder if that really matters. The thing is, it's a really tight fit in here. Oh, that is never going to move. And it's got the piece wrapped around it. Mechanically, that is very strong. Okay. Install both motor horns, securing the top horn with an M3x6, attach the shoulder part, tighten the shoulder part with 4 by blah, add the shoulder motor holder. Okay. Let's see what this thing says. Okay, so insert the motor, done. Okay, so we've got to put the horn on the top. I have not yet done that. I will do that in a second. Then we've got to put the horn on the bottom. It's showing putting screws in the bottom and cover on. Okay, I've done that bit, and I have put those screws in, and I did put the 2 screws in from the top. Okay, so that is the next part, is putting that joint in place. So let's see if I am clever enough to figure this part out. What am I looking for? Here, some more parts. These are the parts for this motor. These motors come with 2 horns. They don't look like horns because they are discs, but you can see that one of them, this one, has the little knurled threaded thing in it. This one does not. So this is the idler that goes on the back. So one of the things that I've done already is zeroed the motor position. So these servos have the serial communications protocol that you talk to them over this, and they have force sensing and position feedback. So what I did was, this is backing all the way up to 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. What I did was I connected each of these motors in turn to the Linux computer using this little interface driver board, and each one of them came up with address 1. I then ran the utility that tells the motor that it needs to switch to a new address, and I left that one as address 1. This one I made address 2, so F2 means follower 2, and so on. So each one of these now has its own address, and it also zeroes the position of each of the motors. So it turns the motor and sets it so that the position encoder is reading back 0. So each of these motors should now be at their 0 position. And that's important because what happens is that when I assemble this, if I take this part of the mechanism and assemble it onto so this is the next part, assemble it onto the servo, if the motor was not in its 0 position when I did that, it might try to drive through the body or something. You know, it wouldn't be good. So I need to why is that such a tight fit? What am I doing wrong? When things don't fit properly, it makes me think I'm doing something wrong. It actually takes a bit of force to get it on and off. Is there a key, or is it simply a very tight fit? Checking under the microscope, and there's no particular key or anything. Looks like it might just be a tight fit. So I need to get it aligned with the holes on this in line with the motor axis, and then push it on. Does not want to go on. Maybe when I screw down onto it, it will cooperate a bit more. Okay. Okay, so then I do that, and it says screws, motor horns securing with an M3x6 screw. I just want to make absolutely sure. So the screws that were supplied, yep, 6 millimeters. The screws that were supplied with this, whoops, need the Phillips head, not the flat blade. The screws that were supplied with this should be correct because it was all bought as a kit. I'll screw that down. It's as I'm screwing this on, it is settling the threaded spline onto the thingamajigamy. So this one, which way does it go? That way or that way? My guess is it goes this way so that spaces it out from the body, and this side is just free running. It's just sitting on this. I think the body of these servos is like, it feels like glass-filled nylon or something. Yeah, they feel very strong and hard. So that effectively is going to be the aluminium on the plastic is the bearing for this side. Hopefully that's the right thing. Now, do I need a washer or anything? How do I make that stay on? Is there anything that makes it stay on? Let's have a look at those instructions again. Did it show, going back to the bottom part? No, I don't think there is anything. I think that just freewheels. It just hangs underneath there. You can see there is a hole there where you could put a bolt in to retain it, but I don't think you need to. It'll end up being retained by this part, by that part there. Gaffer tape to make it stay on. Yes. Bit of super glue. Okay, so now I need to put that over and then screw into the servo horn. 4 from above, 4 from below. And then, okay, back to here. Is it going to fall off? Doesn't look like it. All right, I'm going to turn it so that the servo horns are kind of aligned. Oh, hang on. Well, that's annoying. I aligned this so that the holes were on that axis, but it looks like they actually need to be rotated. Got to take that back off again. But being paranoid, I'm going to check this. What is it showing here? That's weird. Look at this. In the video, I'll see if I can make it bigger. See, on the video, it is showing the servo horn with the holes aligned in line with the axis of the motor. But the holes in the next piece that go onto it are rotated 45 degrees relative to that. So there's no way those screws could go in if that was directly in line. So what do I trust? Do I trust? I think I have to trust that the plastic piece has to be straight, not that the horn has to be aligned that way. So then this might be rather hard to get off because it took a lot of force to get it on, and then the screw was what finally pulled it on. I have a feeling that the aluminium of the horn was actually like giving. Oh, ah! Am I going to break? Am I going to break this? Feels like I am. I didn't like that at all. Okay. I did actually damage the plastic just a little bit around the body of the servo there. Okay, second attempt. This time I'm going to put it on so that the holes are aligned that way. Does it align that way? The splines are not perfectly, they're pretty close. It'll be a little hard to see on camera, but if this is the axis of the motor like that, the holes are not absolutely perfectly perpendicular to it, the axis of those holes. It's pretty close, but that's as close as it can get given the, come on, given the positions of the spline, the little grooves on the shaft that this has to go onto. Okay, so getting there. Next, let's put this on, and I'm going to pre-align that because I don't know how tight this is going to be. Yeah, it's a firm fit, not super tight, but it's firm. Okay, I think what I'll do is, oh no, the bottom isn't bad either. The holes, yeah, I can see down through there that the holes are kind of aligned. So I'm going to chuck a screw in. Oop, wrong screwdriver again. Not fully tightened up. I'm just going to put a couple of screws in there to get it to align with the freewheeling horn on the bottom, because then I can push it around and align it with the horn on the top. Chuck those ones in. Oh, I totally forgot. Does anybody have any nerd brags for this week? What cool things have you done? What have you achieved? What little thing have you done that you're proud of and we can all give you a cheer for doing? What have I done this week? It feels like my week has not really been very useful. Partly because I've still been coming out of being sick, and in fact I am still yeah, I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling really tired. Yeah, for those of you who are worried, not contagious. I don't have anything that you can catch. It's just my lung capacity is decreased at the moment as a result of the pneumonia. So I am functioning at a suboptimal level. Okay, so that's on, that's on. Okay, what I might do is, just because the instructions say to do it, I'm going to put the screws in the bottom. Are these screwdrivers magnetic? No. That's a pity. All right, that's going to make it tricky. Oh, not too bad. Got it in there. I just recently got these ESD safe screwdrivers, and no, they are definitely not magnetic. So I designed a gridfinity tray for them. So these are now set up permanently on my workbench. Okay, it's starting to look like a thing. We have a base and we have a joint attached to the base. So what comes next? Time to read the docs again. No, I do not want to install Java. Look, I'm going to show you what happens. Every single Sunday, while I am doing the live stream, this pops up. I think I might have mentioned, just like, I haven't drawn attention to it, but every now and then on a stream, I will say something like, no, I didn't want to update Java. Now look at this, install update. Okay. It downloads, extracts, and then it bombs out. It's been doing this for months. Funny thing is, so then it gets to this point, so it downloads it, and then it says, please remove unused, and I go, okay, remove. It appears that you have not used Java on your system in over 6 months. Yeah. We recommend that you do this, remove. Would you like to remove? Yeah, whatever. Uninstalling, failed. XPC connection error, close, boom. So I do that, and then it goes away, and then the next week, during the stream, it pops up with the exact same warning, and it does the exact same thing again. It's been doing that for months. Maybe what I should do is, well, either just manually kill it, totally delete it, or, Wagon Laser said, put a magnet on the screwdriver shaft. Yeah, I've got some magnets right here that I could snap on the screwdriver shaft. David says, I haven't destroyed the world. That's a pretty big brag. Is that a danger? Okay, so then it says, add the shoulder motor. Why is that a tongue twister? Add the shoulder motor holder. Okay. Doot, doot, doot. And that drops down over there. Shoulder motor holder. Is there the risk, David, that you could accidentally destroy the world? Are these the same? No, they are not. They've got different cable guide things on them. Which one do I need? One of these is the shoulder motor holder, one is not. I think which one do I need? That looks like, I'm just trying to interpret it from the pictures. It looks like I need this one, and it looks like it goes that way. Okay. Yeah, I should bring the focus of the camera up a little bit. I'm going to do that. Up. Which way? But yeah, to about there. Give or take. Focus assist will jump out in a moment. I think that'll be about right. Now, okay, so we've got what did it? Yeah, the tongue twister, shoulder motor holder. David says, deep sighs. There is no chance I destroy the world. You went, You weren't meant to destroy the illusion of my ability to destroy the world by asking me if there is a risk of me destroying the world. Oh, sorry, David. Oh, okay, so this is a good one. Mark says, I have a bad habit of forgetting to close the garage door, so added a reed switch to a Shelly +1 and set up a notification in Home Assistant if I left it open for too long. Very nice. That's cool. Amanda said, I got my first results back for an assessment, professional development. First assessment, I got 98.5%. You overachiever, making the rest of us look bad. But congratulations, Amanda, that's awesome. Now, where are we? Joint 2, slide the second motor in from the top. Fasten the second motor, attach motor horn, attach the arm. Okay, slide the second motor in from the top. It looks like it is done with the idler towards us. And where does the cable go? My guess is that I should probably put the cable in before before sliding that in. So, motor 2. Motor 2. F2, F2, F2? No, that's F5. Where's F2? F2, okay. So if this slides in this way, can I still get to the cable? Oh yeah, it looks like I can. Okay, so I can, ooh, let's try doing it this way. I'll put this in first. Yes, I can get to the cable afterwards. That's good. So that slides in, snaps into place, and then that over the top. This whole thing is designed to be interlocking and positively located. So you can see that not only does the motor fit into like a cup arrangement that holds it, but then there is this sleeve or collar that goes down over it and locks it into place. So there is no way that it can move. So it's a pretty clever design. Oh, come on, a bit further. Or is that as far as it goes? Ooh, I just noticed there is some cleanup that I need to do. Now, can I get this off again? Without breaking my hand. I'm not so concerned about breaking the part because I can reprint that, but breaking my hand would be a problem. The reason is you can see that I needed to do some cleanup inside this little area. I wonder if I can get it out without taking it back off again. There is 3D printing support in there that needs to be popped out. Oh no, I don't think it is. I think that is just because this is not yet settled into its final location. Okay, I was wrong. It just needs to go down further. But it doesn't want to. It really doesn't want to. Did I use the wrong one? Did I put it on upside down? What silly mistake have I made? There we go. Snapped into place without snapping. That's better. Okay. Now it is in its proper location. So then I guess that goes around there and into there. Cool. Now I need to put screws through to hold the motor. Screws through there. Is that going to go in? No. Looks like maybe the motor needs to be slid down a bit further. It's a very tight fit. Did I screw this up? What have I screwed up? Yeah, the question is not did I screw it up, but how did I screw it up? I'm going to check the alignment of the hole on the motor. In there. Oh no, that looks right. I can see the hole for the motor. I was just using the microscope to look down into the hole. It's very useful for that sort of thing. So the motor is actually aligned properly. Okay. I'll screw that in. So, does anybody else put more nerd brags on while I have not been paying attention to the chat? Where are we? Okay. Matt says, taking many notes on those clever design decisions for holding the motors. Yeah, it is very clever. Okay. Now, I think I need... Here's another bag of bits. I need to put the horns on this servo so that I can keep working up the chain. My aim, what is its time? 11:06. I was just going to say, my goal is by the end of the stream to have one of just this assembled, but I don't think I'm going to make it. Okay, that one on there. Now, before I put this horn on, I'm going to check what happens next. So the next piece to go on, it'll be one of these two, but I don't know which one. I think it is, I'm just looking at them and comparing, it's this one. Okay, so this one needs to go on so that it is horizontal, which means the holes for the horn need to be in a horizontal square when looked at from this point of view. So it needs to be aligned that way. Something like that. Okay, so I'll get it, see if I can get it started by hand. Yeah, these horns, once they go on, they are on. I don't have a... If I go to one notch, it's tilting down. If I go to the next notch, it's tilting up. But the amount that it tilts up is slightly less than the amount that it tilts down, so that's what I'm going with. Then I should probably be Loctiting these. If I was going to be doing this properly, I would probably Loctite. Okay, so now I slide. It's got little clearances on the inside here. It's a bit hard to see, but there is a groove that allows it to clear the screw head, and it will only go on if I slide it down vertically. So I'll put that over the servo horn. Yeah, I am definitely not going to have time to get to any software related stuff with this. I'm going to be lucky to just have... that is really tight. I'm going to be lucky to just have the this first arm assembled. Am I doing this the right way around? Is that going to fit on there? Only just. Oh, it looks like it's got to get past. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of going to snap into position. So this actually has to bend out to get past an internal recess. There, okay. So now it's snapped into position. Click. I don't like the fact that it is pointing up a bit when it is in supposedly the 0 position. I wonder if that can be changed. If the number of slots on the spline, in fact, I'm going to check this. If the number of slots on the spline is odd, then depending on which orientation, it should be possible to have a slightly different alignment. So, this one seemed to not be quite as tight to get on. So hopefully it won't be as tight to get off. Working it off. Without shoving a screwdriver into my own palm. Okay, so presumably this motor is currently zeroed. It could be that it has twisted slightly from its position, but let's see. Okay, that looks fairly straight to me. Whoop, I've lost it. Okay, so that looks fairly straight. That looks fairly straight. Yeah, it looks straight. Why was it not straight when I... Yeah, I don't know. Okay. It looks straight. So I'm just going to proceed with putting the next piece on. It's possible that the motor has got rotated slightly. It would take a lot of force. I can't move that with my finger. Which one was it again? This one. And it goes in cage side up. So bend this over. And then, no, not those. I need M3, yeah, M3 bolts into the horns. So I'll put 2 in on this side, and then I'll align the other side. I should have aligned the other side first because that is the idler side. How far off is it? Oh, I can move the motor. Now that I've got enough leverage, I can do it. Yeah, I need to rotate this. But how do I rotate that? I'm trying to bend it out a bit. There we go. It's getting closer. So now I should be able to twist it enough to get it aligned. There. Yeah, so once I've got something attached to the motor that is strong enough to, that gives me enough mechanical advantage, I can turn it by hand. But I couldn't do it just by gripping the aluminium servo horn disc. Yeah, I just want to reiterate, very clever design. Ooh. The clearance on those is going to be interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. I'm going to leave those cables off because the cables don't need to go through the middle of anything. They just get clipped around the outside. And provided they are in a position where I can still get to the cable afterwards, I'm going to leave it off. So this cable, for example, needs to go through this clip and then go into that motor, and then the next cable will go into there and then come out and through this clip and up to the next motor. Okay, it's starting to look like a thing. It's almost like a robot. Now, next, what are we up to? Next. Hey, you should all be taking advantage of the TTS being running, because this is a sitting away from the computer type stream today, so I'm not really I'm not really able to keep much of an eye on the chat. So Wagon Load says, those orange shoulders look like it doesn't give enough room for motion. Let's have a look at that. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. So you're talking about just in here. you can see that that definitely would strike this. Yeah, if I try to move this down, that is the lowest point that it can go to, because then it strikes on the body here. But that is plenty low enough. You can see that it's got a little bit of clearance above that part, and then there's another joint that comes out from this as well. So that gives it enough depression, like the ability to come down this way, that it can reach things that are on the ground in front of it. It doesn't need to go any lower than that. So it can go, the range of motion is all the way from there to there. So yeah, that seems adequate. I see your point though. You're right that it hits the body there if it tries to go too low. And rotating this way, it's got better than 180. It's I don't know, but maybe, hang on, would that be 90 from there to there? No, it's a little bit more than 90, so it's probably got like 240 degrees range of motion in terms of rotation. So yeah, that's cool. Oh, and the other thing I think is that this, the way I'm assembling this now, I think is actually slightly backwards. Oh, maybe it's not, I can't remember. Anyway, in terms of the way that it works when it's in operation. Wagon Load said, did you pre-zero the servos first? Yes, I did. Steven said, my stomach is indicating that it's already lunchtime. Well, it's getting close to barbecue time. My plan today was to finish the stream a little early so that I could do a little bit more setup, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. Where are we up to? Okay, so attach both modes, contact, connect the forearm. Is this the one we just did? No, this is not the one we just did. Okay, so the motor goes in there, and that goes in there, and then that goes on there. Yeah. In all of these animations, the position of the servo horns does not match the reality of the 3D printed plastic parts. Yeah, you can see here the servo horn has the holes aligned that way, and the 3D printed part that fits onto it. Why is that not loading? Don't know. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so this time I'm going to pre-fit the servo horn before I even put it into the thingamajigamy. Okay, so then that one goes over the top. All right, I think I got this. I see where this is going. So I need motor 3. There are 6 motors on this, and so far we've only put on 2. So we've still got a fair ways to go. Now, I'm going to, pre-fit this, and according to the 3D printed parts, it goes with the holes across, like that. Okay, I've got to do this without displacing the servo so that it maintains its orientation. Now I'm going to do this using the screw to pull the horn on, pull it down onto the little splines. There we go. And it goes with the horn on the other side like that. The tuning on these parts is spot on. Everything, like nothing is sloppy. That is really firm, but it slides in with a good degree of tension. It's, yeah. Whoever did the design work on this did a really good job. It seems like they've tuned everything. which is tricky because you've also got to allow for printer tolerance and things. Maybe I just got lucky. Also, printers these days are just more accurate. It used to be that if you wanted a very specific dimension, like down to 1/10 of a millimeter or so, you would do it to what you thought was correct, and do a test print, and then measure it, or do a test fit. And if it fitted, it's great. If it didn't, then you would adjust your model a little bit, and then print it again. But now you can say, I want this to be 20.3 millimeters across, and you print it, and it comes out to 20.3 millimeters. Pretty well. So we are, yeah, we're spoiled these days. Okay, so this piece needs to go on. And for those of you who are coming to the barbecue today, you can have a look at this in person and tell me whether I did a good job. Okay, that one goes on. And snap this over. Okay, tight fit, snaps into position. Perfection, snapped on. Does go that way, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Okay, so now those holes are good. I've just got to rotate the idler. So how will I do that? I'll jam the idler with this and then move this on it. That worked. Yeah, that actually works really well. Chuck a couple of screws in just to make sure that it keeps its alignment. They're not tight yet. And then I've got to do these ones. So what I was hoping was that Andy would come along today with his fully assembled SO-101 arms, but unfortunately he's got a thing on, he's got a presentation he's got to do tomorrow night, which he's frantically preparing for, so he's not going to be able to make it to the barbecue, which is very sad. You'll just have to make do with checking out this non-functional one. Physically assembled, mostly physically assembled, but no software, not running, not doing anything interesting. Come on, TTS. Why isn't anybody using the TTS? Is it working? Oh, Paul says, feel free to show people the pulse for ESP Home at the barbecue. Yep, cool. Thanks, Paul. Now, so it's a little bit of backlash in that. Where is that backlash coming from? Not sure. Still pretty good though. Ooh, look at this. It's almost like a robot arm. Okay. Next. We're getting sort of closer towards the end of the end of the arm at least. So what do? Put that in. I've done that. I've put those in. Yes. I believe we are complete on that step. So now we're up to joint 4. Slide over motor holder 4, slide in motor 4, fasten motor 4, blah, 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 blah. Okay, these little animations are really good too. It's, yeah, I think I'm going to do the same as I did with the other joint, where I put the motor in first, and then I slide the collar over the top of it. Okay, so we need to do it with if we're looking at it that way, we have where are we? This is motor 4. if we're looking at it this way, we want, well, I guess the important thing is that the cables all come in on the same side. So, cables on this side, does that match what they are showing? Yeah.
Imogen Ann said, now traveling at 1/20th the speed of sound.
1/20th the speed of sound. Okay, so you're down to about, what, 50 something kilometers an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. Okay, so that goes on there. Then this is the colliery thing that goes over it. Which way does it go? That way. Okay. So the motor is fully seated. And then slide this over the top. And not quite. There. There we go. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. All right. Time to screw this in. I assume that that means you are now in the suburbs, in Melbourne somewhere, since you would now be off the freeway. Either that or the freeway is travelling very slowly.
Imogen Ann said, around about that. We're winding through the hills.
Oh, winding through the hills. Okay. Does that mean you're coming the north way, around through like Eltham type region and the north side of town? That's the pretty way to come. Okay, so next we need the servo horns that go onto here, and I need to check before I put them on what the next piece is, which I assume is this one, or yeah, yes, it must be this one. Time to read the instructions again. Okay, back to here. So that goes on, done that, done that, done that. Join 5. Insert the Motor 5 wrist holder, which is Motor 5 wrist holder. I was trying to just step through the video and it doesn't like that when it hasn't loaded. Fitzsimmons Lane. Oh, all right, yep, I see. Yes. Come on. Why is this not working? Play the video. I'm going to be stumped if I can't see how it's done. Let's look at the next one. Okay, the next one, the end state of this stage should be the starting state of this stage. So let's see what happened. All right, so we have that piece onto that piece, and looking at orientation here, that that goes that way, which means motor horn gets aligned that way. Okay. Yeah, for some reason it said event triggered, but it didn't. Oh, okay, it's because there was a slash and then the space of, say, Fitzsimmons Lane. What am I doing? What I'm doing, I'm losing track of what I'm doing. That's what's going on here. That goes to, yes. So I need this on here, once again with the holes aligned like that. I felt like I was making the, hey, this one just went straight on. Felt like I was making the sign of the cross then. Holes aligned like that. I've got this, I have this every time, and I think I say it every time, but as usual, I have this horrible feeling that I have forgotten something critical for the barbecue. And people are going to turn up, and I'm going to discover that I don't have sausages or something. So, time for a quick review. What do I have? Checklist. Okay, sausages. Yes, I do actually have sausages in the fridge. I have chicken drumsticks ready to chuck in the air fryer. I have 2 loaves of bread. I have margarine. There is tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, and mustard. There is a barbecue. There is a spare bottle of gas. What other things could I have screwed up? What else is critical? I think that's the, I think those are the critical ingredients of a barbecue, isn't it? It's sausages, bread, and gas, and tomato sauce. All of which I have. So, this is not sitting cleanly. I think it might, no, it's not too bad. Yeah, that's all right. Everything else is optional, isn't it? I also have cans of Coke, cans of Pepsi. I've got lemon and orange soft drink, margarine. Got oil for the barbecue. What else is there? HM says beer. Stephen W says John forgot to bring himself to the barbecue. No, there is 1 beer in the fridge, which is not actually mine because I don't drink, but it's my son's and it's been in there for months. So you put it in there sometime ages ago and he's just never drunk it. Yeah, if anybody is coming to the barbecue and does want to drink beer or whatever, you are most welcome to bring it. I don't have anything against it. I just don't drink myself, so I don't generally provide it either, because it's kind of it's a midday barbecue. If it was an evening barbecue, then you would expect more of the beer consumption type activity to be happening. Maybe I should provide beer. Am I discriminating against beer drinkers by not providing it? But I figure that if I did, the cost of putting on the barbecue would probably increase significantly. So I already have to buy all the meat and drinks and like the soft drinks and chips and other snacks and stuff. So buying beer as well would add to the cost. What do I need? Motor 5. What is the time now? 11:34. We're getting on there in terms of time. All right, now which way does this motor go? Yeah, really does look like a robot arm now. Okay, motor 5. Back to the instructions. All right, so motor goes in and that goes on. Okay. So this particular servo is the one that does the rotational axis on the gripper. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool, let's try this video again, see if it's going to work now. Oh, it is now. Okay, that goes in there. That goes on there. Okay, so we only need the servo horn on the front because the gripper that goes onto this just attaches on the front. Okay, cool. and the orientation of it, once again, you can see 45 degrees out in the model. So I need to, okay, I need to attach the servo horn with the square kind of horizontal. Oh, and I've got to put this in, is the other thing. Ooh, getting to those wires is going to be interesting, but I think I can manage it. Okay, so this one has got to go in that way so that the horn is exposed here. So I'm going to have to get wires into this motor in here, but I can manage that. I can sort of shove them in and then clip them in with a screwdriver. I'm just wondering if I should do that before. No, I can't actually do that before unless I take this off. All right, that's just the way it is. So I'm just going to, I need to get this in a little bit more. That's it. So I can screw that in, and so this is just going to be face mounted on the servo. Yeah, no other screws to hold that. Nope. Okay, so servo horn time, that one, and it's got to go with holes aligned that way, or that way, or that way. Okay. Ah, it really feels like I should be Loctiting these screws in. With the other ones it doesn't matter so much because the screws are actually captive by the like the collars that go over it, the locking collar. But this end one, where the effector mounts onto it, is only attached on this face. So if that screw comes off, the whole thing could fall off. Oh well. Oh well. That's a problem for future me. Alright, so then that goes on there. We're getting there. We really are getting there. It's starting to look like a robot. Let's get this on. Hopefully without getting my head in the way of the camera too much. Just got to find the position. There it is. All right. With this on, and in the position this is in right now, to me it looks like the robot is giving me the finger. It's just got the lower half of the gripper sticking straight up. Like this. Okay. Tighten these up now that they're all in. So we now have the gripper on. That can rotate. This can move. Ooh, it's looking like a thing. So the last bit will be the other half of the gripper so that this can actually close and pick things up. Now for that, we are back to here. Wagonlow says that wrist joint seems like the weakest link. HM says beer is not optional. I am un-Australian. Oh, how un-Australian. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like that. That is the cultural norm. Now we've got... okay, so let's just hit play on this one. Come on, play. Okay, so that is on. And then... those are in, yes. And then... what's going on here? That goes in. What? Why are those in there? And then that goes on there. So what are those other two nuts for? They must be for mounting the camera. That's my guess. Let's see. Let's see that bit again. That's going to be important before I... yeah, this bit here. That's going to be important before I put the servo in. And then what is the orientation of the servo? Yeah, I can guess that, I think. Okay, so M3 nuts. M3 nuts. What do we do there? So it's got a spot here for some captive nuts, which means I need to grab a couple of M3 nuts because they are not provided with these miscellaneous parts kits. Luckily, I have a large quantity, a voluminous number of M3 nuts because they are very useful things, and they are right here. In fact, I've got them in several different. I'm just going to bring the whole. I'm going to bring the little drawer with me because I have them with different head sizes, and I don't know what is going to be a convenient size for this. So I have this little tray. I've got them in different colors, and I'll try these shiny silver ones. These ones have got slightly larger heads and might be a tight fit. Yeah, I don't think they quite fit. These ones are slightly smaller. Yeah, that's a better fit. Okay, so I need the ones that are like a matte finish. Put those in. Okay, so now we've got the two M3 nuts, which are a press fit into there. And I can put in the last one, servo 6, follower 6. So follower 6 will go that way? No, must go that way because the cable comes around here onto this side. So it must go like that. Okay, and my guess is that this part will go on with that orientation, which means I want the horn to be aligned once again. Whoop, stay there, don't fall over. With the holes straight across. That, and that. So I want it aligned that way. Interestingly, it's got alignment marks, 0, 45, 90. You won't be able to see this on camera because it's actually quite hard to see even just with your eyes. There are little grooves in the body that indicate alignment marks so that when you're putting things like the horn on, you can see, nope, that was not quite straight. I need to bring it around a notch. Yeah. I like these motors so far. They seem cool. Now, hopefully they perform as well as they go together, because these motors seem like they could be my new favorite thing for building robotics projects. Okay, I'll try again. I've got to try to get it so that, yeah, the motor is zeroed. It's trying to get it so that the holes are aligned with the axis. Yeah, that seems pretty good. That axis is nicely aligned. Long screwdriver again. And, oh yeah, there are screw holes. I was just wondering if this motor was retained somehow by a collar, but no, it's retained by screwing through the body there. Well, if you've done these before, I'm sure you could build one of these motors in double quick time. But for someone who's never done this before, the instructions are good. It just takes a little bit of checking as you go to make sure that you're putting things together in the right way. Hopefully I have not screwed it up too badly. All right, next, put the idler on the back, and the gripper goes, ooh, this is interesting. Look at this. It's going to be hard to see. Let's see if I can point it out like this. In here, there is a rebate that is designed to allow you to slide this onto the motor. Because you can see here, if you're looking, where you are, you're looking straight down. You can see there is the servo horn, and right there, you can see the head of the screw sticking out. That's holding the servo horn on. So the reason there is this groove in here is to allow this to slide over that. Now, the problem is, it is aligned. Maybe what I should do is put this on first and then slide the motor in. That would actually work better. Yeah, I'm going to take the motor out because you have to slide it on from the opposite side and the body will get in the way. The body of the other bit of the 3D printed plastic will stop you from sliding it in that direction. I could probably just bend it out a bit and force it over, but I'm going to try to avoid doing that, just in case I overstress the plastic. If I take the motor out, that will not be an issue. So that means I've got to get these screws back out. One screw. Come on. Two screws. Three. One remaining. It's just got to be not fouling the motor. Hopefully that's enough. Now, can I get the motor out? Oh, there's a pushing hole in the back. Let's use the pushing hole. That's very considerate of them. Once again, well thought out design. Okay, so that goes in that way, and then this goes here, and I've got to slide it up in this direction because that's the way that the slots go. Bend it over. And this seems tighter than it should be. It definitely seems tighter than it should be. Oh no, I think it's right. It just needed to snap into place. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. A couple of screws to force the alignment of the horn. And then adjust the alignment of the idler. So I'm going to just get this done in time. 11:49, okay. I would not be surprised if people start turning up. Probably in not too long you might hear, yeah, hear evidence of arrival, is how I'll put it. I should just about get this mechanically assembled. Yeah, my CCTV is off at the moment. The cameras are running, the DVR is working, but my monitor up that I can normally look up and see the cameras is not running right now. So I can't see outside, but it does seem to be a beautiful day today. Ooh, look at that. Nice. Now, reattach the motor. Yesterday here was just, it was bucketing down. It got so wet here yesterday. I went up to my mum's place yesterday to help move some furniture, and the downstairs area in what used to be my model train room was flooded. There was like 2 centimeters of water on the floor in the back part of the room. It's like a semi-subterranean room. Definitely a basement in the true sense of the word. It's like all cement floor, brick walls, cement ceiling, as like a strong room under the house. And water comes down the hill because the house is just off the ridge of the mountain and runs in under the house, and yeah, it's not good. Anyway, the point I'm making is full of water. Yesterday, weather bad. Today, weather good, which I'm glad about for the barbecue. So there we go. This now seems to be, apart from connecting all the wires, this, I believe, is now fully assembled. So the next step for me now on this is to route the wires and connect everything in here. So what I've got to do is plug that in there, and then I can use a screwdriver to pop the connector into place. There we go. Because these motors now have all of their IDs set, I can connect everything, and then when the first motor on the chain is connected to the controller, everything should work. All of the individual motors will be addressable. So, pop in the second wire. I am starting to feel really hungry. I am definitely in need of the barbecue at this point. I had a smallish breakfast, and because I've been doing the live stream, I haven't had second breakfast. Now that one, yeah, that one to there. Just wondering which socket to put it into. Each motor has 2 sockets on it where you can connect. There we go. Yeah, connect the wires, and it doesn't matter which one you put it into. It's all just chained. It's all on a single continuous bus, kind of like the way CAN bus works. So it's not. There is no in socket and like an in connection and an out connection. It is just 2 connections. You can put the wires into either. So I'm just looking at which one makes sense mechanically. Yep, put that into there for optimal routing. So in this case, the cable clip, come on, get in there. Am I doing that the right way around? I'm going to take it out just to make sure. Yes, I am. The cable clip in the molding is right there, so I'm putting it into the left socket so that it aligns better with the cable clip. Come on, in you go. This one does not feel like it wants to snap into place. I think it is actually in place though. I think. Yeah, it only goes flush with the body of the servo, so that's okay. All right, and that is fixed, a fixed position, which means I can make the wire short at that end and then bring the loop out to that end to make it neat. There we go. And the next wire goes there and then over. Okay. So that one routes over the top. Or does it? No. This one. Ah, I see. It goes under there because this is one that clips in. Ah, this is the one I was talking about earlier that's going to be really awkward to get to. Okay, so that one I will take to that socket. I might be making a mistake here with putting this one in first. So I'm going to grab another cable and put this other one in first. Which way? That way. Is it? No, that way. That way. For a couple of these cables, it would be nice if they were shorter. But the length of the cables is pretty much perfect for most of the arms. It goes from one motor to the next with a bit of a loop where the joint needs to move, which is exactly what you want. No excess cable, but enough slack that the joint can move. Now, why can't I get this in? It looks like it should pop into position there. I think it's just the awkward angle. Come on. Checking just to make sure. Oh yeah, you probably heard that. That is the evidence of arrival that I was talking about earlier. Yes, that. The obnoxious horn. Okay, so then that goes under there and there. Yeah, so this one comes in there. And that sound means that it really is time for me to wrap up and start doing something about hunger pains and making sure that everybody else's hunger pains are assuaged. Come on, clip in, clip, clip. There we go, it clipped. Okay, yeah, so this cable, for example, is going to have a fair bit of slack in it because the distance that it has to travel from one motor to the next is quite short. I could bundle a bit of it up in there maybe to make it neater. But you can see that it's got this loop hanging out the side, which is longer than it needs to be. Okay, almost there. This is the last little bit. So that comes out there. And then it's got to go into there. So loop around there. And clips into here. And that is the sound of Crispian.
CIA raid.
CIA raid, okay. Quick, set off the thermite on the discs.
No way, mate.
I'm good.
Oh, I was listening. But we turned out to be 45 seconds behind when we pulled up.
45 seconds behind. Oh, you checked the timing on the sound of...
Yeah, we often speed it up.
Yeah.
Catch up, but I don't know. It's been there's a few spots along the way where it drops out.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to see any of this.
Okay. Well, this is...
Oh, it's very like the black one we saw on the video.
It is very, very much like the black one we saw in the video, except
Orange.
it is reflecting a slightly different wavelength of of light.
Oh, it's sensing system.
No, the
Oh,
the
I'm a bit slow. I'm sorry, I didn't manage to average a tenth of the speed of sound.
okay,
Probably more like 6/10.
6/10.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
There we go.
Mixing standards or something. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Hectic drive.
So
So here's the stream. It looked like you only had about 30 or 40 people watching.
yeah,
It's a
the weather's
little
too nice.
Cozy crew.
Yes. So here we go.
We've got Emmy coming in shortly too.
Okay, cool. And it really, well, it's already after 12, so it's time for me to wrap up the stream. So, done. One stream, one robot arm. Just the follower arm, not the leader arm. So the leader arm is basically going to be the same process, except that these two pieces are different. The rest of the plastic is the same, but it has a pistol grip and a trigger.
Are they
So
going to have cameras?
no, only the follower arm, because that is the one that is actually grabbing whatever the object is, whatever the target is. So, well, we did it. We kind of made it. So now we have rotation axis on that. We have first joint, second joint, third joint, fourth joint, and the gripper. So
Just like an excavator, really.
yeah, it's kind of like an excavator. So we have quite a lot of freedom of movement there.
It doesn't seem to like being manipulated from the end.
Yeah, it's
So all the motors
It's
are
complaining.
the same grade, are they?
yeah. So in the
Some of them
follower,
are harder than others.
yes, that's right. So the ones down lower in the system, although it depends what they're balanced, of course. So yeah, and how it's extended. If it's extended like this joint is going to have the highest load on it. But if it's sitting like that, it'll have
I've worked
not
a
very
lot
much
with
load.
excavators, but I never had an opportunity to drive one, and I think I'd be damn good at it, but it's just very
Mm-hmm.
disappointing. I might have to buy one.
Okay, so new YouTube obsession. Somehow I have. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the other view to finish up.
My ugly mug is getting the screen.
Say hello, Crispian.
Oh, there I am.
Yes, there you are.
On the left.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So, where are we? I'm just going to bring this up and try is excavate. Yeah. Somehow the YouTube algorithm, look at this, decided that I was interested in mini excavators. And so it showed me, I got a YouTube video of someone buying a mini excavator from China and the box being delivered and what actually arrived in it. And they are surprisingly entertainingly good.
The thing is, the little ones are difficult to drive in comparison to the big ones because every joint has the same amount of flexibility or movement in it. And on a big one, of course, that's a much smaller percentage of the movement.
Yeah, but so you get a lot more slop and backlash and
you
things.
can see when they're doing their thing, it goes
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and also from what I've seen, they're quite top heavy because they've got a very small base. There's a lot of weight up high, and I think it would actually be kind of scary. But for some reason,
Nan said, "Hello, Crispian and John."
hello, Imi.
Oh, you need
So the
probably relaxing after a crazy drive.
yeah. So yeah, I've ended up seeing a couple of videos of people that have ordered these things from AliExpress, and a couple of months later had an excavator delivered, and then they've done actual work with them and shown what they're like, and they are
Imagine buying such an item from AliExpress.
Yeah, and having it delivered on a truck and unloaded with a forklift.
You'd have to be ballsy to commit yourself to AliExpress for something like that.
Yeah, you sure would. But the other thing is reconditioning excavators. Recondition excavator. I saw this come up in my feed. Oh, here we go.
They might put all new bearings and grease them and all that, but the bearings would be made of lead.
Lead bearings.
Yeah, something pretty hopeless.
Because I
It would last a day, and then it'd be
because I watched that other Chinese mini excavator thing. For some reason, the algorithm has now decided to show me
You know this
other
is my
videos.
because I said the word excavator.
Yeah.
So if everyone
But
on
I-
the stream, you can blame me.
But I am quite happy to have new.
They are fascinating devices.
Look at this thing. I'm just going to mute this. But yeah, you can.
That's a 30 tonner, I think. Oh no, it's 170B to be a 17 tonner.
Yeah, so
Looks bigger.
you can buy used excavators. That's time lapse, obviously. Look at how fast the clouds are moving. Yeah, you can buy excavators in bad condition. All sorts of equipment you can buy in bad condition, and then it may be a good idea to revamp it. It may be a totally stupid idea. $40,000, $21,000, $90,000, $22.62 an hour, 800. I don't know what that number is calculating, but anyway,
He's calculating whether it's worth it.
whether it was worth it. The point is, you can do stupid projects like this and actually just buy yourself an excavator and do stuff with it. But yeah, you got to be a little bit on the crazy side. Tassie Bob says, I think the 170B is 32 tons or thereabouts.
Yeah, it looks like a 30 tonner. It's just that the naming conventions for all the ones I've worked with have always had the weight.
In the name, yeah.
But obviously
Yeah.
the case is different or something. But I haven't worked with that many cases, and I've done heaps and heaps of construction works, and I'm surprised by that. But
Yep. So, oh yeah, Grant said, all my neighbours have excavators, 3 sides. I have excavator envy.
God, is that Grant Maisels?
Yes.
Yeah, g'day Grant.
Hey, Grant. And Scott says, next, I discovered Diesel Creek and I've never heard from again. Okay, I've got to not fall down these particular YouTube rabbit holes. Wagon Load says, I saw a YouTuber who bought industrial robots. Yes, that's another one. That I actually was talking about that last week, I think, on the live stream. There's a place in Melbourne, over in South Melbourne somewhere, that has heaps of big, like I'm talking 3-ton industrial robots that came out of car factories and things. And mechanically they are amazing, but they were built 30 years ago, so they're designed to run on DOS. And the control systems don't exist anymore and that sort of thing. So yeah, retrofitting control systems onto industrial robots is a super fun, interesting project, but I don't have the bandwidth to deal with that right now. That's why I am just messing around with little baby toys like this.
That's a cool little toy.
It is a cool little toy.
Hey,
Anyway,
you got yourself.
yes. So I am going to go and start. Hang on, I'm just going to switch back to here because Crispian is playing around with the robot to show you the. Yeah, it's got him. And do a bit more setup for the barbecue. I've got to get some things out and ready and open the door and things. So thank you all for coming along to my How to Build a Robot Arm 101 class, and you're all now experts, so I expect you all to have robot arms by next week. Tassie Bob said,
Replace
what?
our regular arms?
Maybe. You can just end up with more arms. Why settle for 2 arms? You could be like a moti and have 3 arms. We need a grip. You need the gripping arm, otherwise you're not a moti. So Tassie Bob said, what part of the PCB production line is that little orange robot for? You say that as if it's a silly question. It is. I have 2 ideas. One is I need to pick up PCBs after they've come out of the reflow oven and put them on a tray or somewhere. And the other is I want to take PCBs after they've been tested and put them into the light box to take a photo and then take them back out of the light box.
Are you likely to sharpen this so it can pick up smaller components?
What I'm likely to do is customize something to make it suitable for picking up PCBs. Yes. Right.
Almost cat yellow.
Oh, Imi says, I can crochet sleeves for them. That is...
She can too. I've seen
Yeah.
her do stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that actually would work well. A lot of robot arms have
I
sleeves.
can crochet sleeves for them.
Yeah,
haha.
they have sleeves over them, so they look like this nice, soft, white arm
Like
that's
one
quite
like this
fluid.
one.
Yeah,
A lot
that's
of
right.
people on the stream here would have seen that.
Yeah, and if you take that cover off, it's like it's all mechanical stuff like this. But when you put a nice soft sleeve over it, it somehow makes it, I don't know, less threatening or something. Keeps all the dust and bits out of the joint. Keeps it clean.
Anthropomorphise it a little bit though.
Yeah, anthropomorphize. It is lunch o'clock. My brain is failing. Stephen says you would need silicon grippers or something with more grip and temperature resistance than PLA to grab things from the oven. Yeah, I'm not going to grab things actually out of the oven. My oven has a conveyor belt, so the boards come out of the oven through a cooling zone. So when they actually come off the end of the conveyor belt, they are already pre-cooled to some extent. They're still like very warm to the touch, but they're not hot. And then they slide out and land on a tray, which is at the exit of the oven. And normally what we do is we humans walk over and use our 5-finger grippers to pick the boards up out of the tray. And then we put them into wherever they need to go. That is the part that I want to automate. So the board will still slide out, land in the tray on the exit side of the oven, and will just be sitting there. And then I want to have the computer detect, hey, there's a board there that needs to be picked up, and have the arm pick up the board and then put it somewhere useful. So yeah, that is the idea. So, thank you very much for coming along. Everybody say goodbye to Crispian. Or if you're coming to the barbecue, you can say hello to him in person soon. So, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!